What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 5 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Bhashiva the White Tiger Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Grimgor's faction has pretty much been defeated, though there were some desperate fights involved, including a massive pile of greenskins, including the laborers out of the Volery, I guess, from the war host of Jar, backing up the Grimgor Zard boys at Karak Rag. Nonetheless, it was not enough, and we minced those laborers just as well as we do their freer cousins. Otherwise, we are poised to destroy Grimgor's faction in about maybe one turn, maybe two, depending on if we can reach it. And in fact, let's move Bhashiva in march stance towards Eagle Ares. I don't think there's anybody nearby enough to kill Gandari, even if they try to move towards him, because I don't think there's anybody close enough to do so. Yeah. Alright, and hopefully we'll be able to reach the place. Also, while we're at it, Bhashiva, I take it you have leveled up, and indeed you have. Let's grab Stone Gaze to eventually get those lions. I do like that physical resistance and silence, but anyway, we'll get those eventually. Talion is going to have to keep saving her points. We have 3 levels on the Claw Speaker, very nice. Magical reserves and 2 points into Curse of Anra here, and we have an Earthing Rod, which is unfortunately useless to us, so we'll ignore that for now. Gandari, you've reached rank 12, which means you're a unique line. You get upgraded predatory instincts. Oh no, actually, that I was thinking of Ferocious Ambush for predatory instincts allows you to buff a Tiger Warrior unit. With, you know, not a crazy amount of damage, but every little bit counts. Plus, you get 6 melee attack. Then we get the passive ability Fight Fire with Fire, which means anytime... when we take fire damage, we deal fire damage, and our other damage increases. And also our flame resistance increases. Basically a partial Chaos Dwarf encounter. I say partial because the Chaos Dwarfs have big flame resistances of their own, and thusly the armor-piercing weapon damage addition most likely only goes part way to helping out against the fact that we do lower damage from flaming attacks to Chaos Dwarfs in the first place. Traditions of Finesse gives us additional armor and missile resistance for Gandari, and also melee defense and missile resistance for Ironclaw Tigers. And then this gives them bonus versus large increases in weapon strength, plus melee attack. This gives us control, campaign movement range, corruption reduction, and enemy hero success chance. And lastly, a guiding strike now levels up to masterful strike with a pretty big steroid of a melee attack. Very nice. And interesting, Fight Fire with Fire also given to any heroes in the army. Fair enough, fair enough. Alright, Gandari, good job. You'll eventually lead an army of your own. Next up, speaking of leading armies, you. How many Iron Hail Gunners do we want? I'm not entirely sure yet. You know, oh, actually, you know what we can do? Armies of Shangyang, let us... Well, we will want to increase capacities of the Jade Warriors... generally speaking, yes? Yes, so let's get, I don't know, an increase of 3 for now. And then we could increase this to 5. I'm not actually sure whether this will work. You know, let's just try it. I'll increase this to 5. We are switching the commandment, so if the commandment switches at the end of the turn, all 3 will be recruited rather than 2. Though on the other hand, I suppose we could build the... Jade, no, we'll want the Halberd Jade Warriors anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, let's give that a try. Then, the other thing I figured that we do is, since the caravans have been getting into a lot of fights lately, let's grab 3 insignia for the Jade Warriors with Halberds, and by the looks of it, that's it. Oh, no, actually, you have Jade Warriors with crossbows. Alright, so let's give them insignia as well. Oh! And the Longma Riders. You could potentially also get stuff. Alright, let's take a look at this. Armies of Shangyang. Yes, you get unit mass, speed, and charge at the cost of 4 melee defense, or ooh. I mean, we can't get either one right now anyway. It's a little bit disappointing. Cannot die. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Anyway, I believe I said we needed 3 of these, so 1, 2, 3 Celestial Emperor insignia, and then 1, 2 of the range insignia as well. We could just start off on getting some of these insignia. I built 5 of these guys, right? And, oh, I mean, in theory we'll want the Iron Dragon insignia, but for now we'll probably go Desert Tigress insignia because, well, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, this is getting expensive very quickly. There goes all of our Iron Favor. Maybe I jumped the gun. You know what, let's do 4 for now. A little bit much. I know, you know what, okay, there's no need to give those to them right now anyway. Let's talk to you, Caravan, and buff you up with both of your insignias, power you up for when you need it. And that'll be these two for range, and you guys, no, you guys. We'll buff up your insignia, plus we can level Abhishek. Like so. Lovely, and then Abhishek, we can get you. We're waiting for a little rank 8. You know what, let's grab on yielding for you. I think we'll need the defenses, because these guys keep getting attacked. And you know what, by the looks of it... wait, let me just take a look at the missions. Tiger Court, no, Armies of Shangyang. Eliminate Deathmaster Snitch, I really couldn't care less. Capture Red Fortress, again, couldn't care less. I'm wondering whether we should just decline this mission for now, because who knows how long it's going to be until we come down there, especially since Goldtooth's now fighting the War Host of Jar in maybe a while. Especially as we'll have to go this way to deal with these guys and basically raise their territory. Obviously, we're not taking any garbage territory up here, but yeah, maybe a little bit of a ruin barrier until other Chaos Forces come on by, especially since there doesn't seem to be any relics up there. Yeah, you know what, let us cancel this for now. I keep going to the wrong place, damn it. I keep wanting to go to Tiger Court rather than Armies of Shangyang. Let us decline the mission. It's sad to lose out on the Celestial Dragon crossbows, but whatever, not a big deal. Alright. Then, we will not accept either one of these. We want to mill them as well for hopefully something a little bit better. Actually, capture Eagle Ares or destroy Grimgore would be just fantastic, as he's on the way out. You... Did I check buildings this turn? I don't know, let's find out. Apparently there are no buildings this turn. Fair enough, and the public order still falls, but there isn't too much we can do about that. We got no hero capacity, our garrison lord not moved, that is you? No, that's you, okay, but you're not supposed to move. I guess we could send you out here and have you channel. Why not? Skip. And available jamming missions. Oh, I know, game. I know. Otherwise, I believe we're good minus. You know what? We have 7 Tiger Warriors. 5 of them are named. Let's name the last 2. So we have Death That Purrs, Thundercats, Frosted Flake Custodians, Catnip Enthusiasts. You will be joined by the Kit Cats and Discord Kittens. And of course, the Perfect Warriors. Lovely. And we do have the Catnip Infusion for one of the Jade Warriors. Alrighty, looking nice and named. Let's end the turn, let's see what else happens. I did check the buildings. Who will declare war on us this time? Oh, watch it be Goldtooth immediately, I swear. I would not be surprised, but I would be upset. And, ooh, hello, Kolek Suneater. Huh. Well, no, we have to wipe out Grimgore either way, though he is in March stance, and I guess these guys are still fighting, so we'll just leave that alone for now. What is this? Fight a garbage little Chaos Dwarfen stack, or... Well, actually, maybe not so garbage, because our own stack is garbage. We're not destroying the peasants for this. Let's fight this real quick. Nice little skirmish. The Chaos Dwarf Warriors are perhaps going to be something of an issue for us. Admittedly, we don't have much in the way of a melee line here, but hopefully it'll be fine. Yep.
Let their weakness be the scent that guides your blade, brother.
Alrighty, here we go. I do love these little skirmishes, so this should be pretty fun. And our Tiger Warriors are pretty darn fragile. Without Bhashiva buffing them, and without the red line buffs, they are not going to be strong enough to simply, well, fight on par with Chaos Dwarf Warriors. So, we'll see what we can do here. We have 1 unit of Peasant Long Spears to hold, but we do have our units of Disc Throwers, which will hopefully be able to do some discs, or some damage, rather, do some discs. They'll chuck their discs into the back of these Chaos Dwarfers. Oh! Ah, they got this sort of, I don't know, purplish, pinkish color scheme with gold armor? Well, that's kind of interesting. It's very dark elven, though, the color scheme, other than the gold to some degree, but, Yeah, see, it looks more appropriate on the hobgobs, but anyway, I digress. I kind of like it on the chaos dwarfs. Anyway, we're going to charge the enemy with our tiger warriors, while our peasants to rapidly obliterate that unit of hobgoblin spears who foolishly charged into our long spears. Unfortunately, our tiger warriors take roughly about as much damage from the enemy cutthroats as our... Oh, wow. That one tiger went flung... Oh, and he gets up. Damn, thought he'd be dead. Anyway, the enemy lord begins the duel with our Sawai while the tiger warriors back off from those cutthroats, but they did distract them long enough. The other tiger warriors rather distracted the chaos dwarf warriors, which promptly had the tiger warrior stalkers charge into their rear lines and tear them to shreds with the extra armor piercing that these stalkers have on their melee attack as compared to the regular tiger warriors. Now their melee weapon strength is actually a lot lower, 57 compared to 38. And actually, armor piercing damage wise, it's actually about the same. I guess the discs are the things that have the more value. But anyway, not important. What is important is tearing the rest of the enemy units to shreds. Our long spears are still holding the Chaos Dwarf warriors back, but let's hope that our Tiger warriors and Stalkers can obliterate the rest of the cutthroats, and then eventually surround and destroy those Chaos Dwarf warriors. With the enemy fast movers gone as well, our units of peasant archers do have free reign to fire upon the cutthroats. Unfortunately, dwarf lords of any kind, chaos or otherwise, are generally pretty darn tanky. The Sawai is not a single, I mean, it is a single entity killer, but it's a large unit single entity killer, and is having a little bit of a tough time, unbuffed as it is, against the Overseer. Losing very slightly as the Overseer is down to about 50% of its HP, and we're down to about 45-ish% of ours. On the bright side, though, one last unit of Hobgob Cutthroats remains, and we use our Tiger Warriors to force them to turn away from the direction of the arrows, and thus allow us to pincushion them with our single unit of Peasants, while the rest of the Stalkers move into the rear lines and start whacking away at those Chaos Dwarf Warriors. And the Chaos Dwarf Warriors are now fighting 3 different units, but at the same time, our units are pretty darn severely damaged, so these guys do still have a little bit of fight in them, and they're still at about 50% of their HP. On the bright side, the Tiger Warriors have minced the Hobgob Cutthroats now, though we will back off the Tiger Warrior Stalkers, as they're pretty severely damaged, from the front line of Chaos Dwarf Warrior fighting. One of our other units of Tiger Warriors is unfortunately having to give chase to a unit of Hobgob Archers, and maybe we could have left the Peasant Archers to deal with them, but I was hoping to have them pincushion that Overseer, though with the Silver Shield and the heavy armor they probably won't do all that much damage. On the bright side, with about 40% of their HP remaining, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors are now in trouble. And with the anti-infantry bonus on the regular Tiger Warriors with twin axes, even the heavy armor of them shouldn't be too big of a concern. At least I hope. Now, the peasants really did their job pinning them in place, though, and died in droves to be sure, but it allowed us to break this unit of Chaos Dwarf Warriors, as they are now down to about 20% of their HP and 40% of their models. The Sawai is also getting ready to hit that enemy Overseer again, charging on through. We were waiting for the cooldown on his Guiding Strike to come up so that we can use Weaken to debuff enemies, as well as buff ourselves with significantly higher melee attack. And with the enemies weakened, it looks like the Chaos Dwarfs, also surrounded by tigers from every side, will shatter at last and bring their Overseer with them. With that, the battle is ours, but look at that, 10%-ish HP left all over the place, extremely close call. And that's exactly why I love these little skirmishes. Alright, there we go. A very, very nice skirmish. A Pyrrhic victory that nearly saw our army destroyed, and a lovely sort of, you know, equal engagement between us and the enemy army, rather than being horribly outnumbered or anything. The units of Tiger Warriors did well with their anti-infantry. The Stalkers did okay as well, though, yeah, the precursor weapons run out real quick. Hopefully we can buff that ammunition up. But anyway, think we have no choice but to heal up, though admittedly, is it pointless? Because if we run into another army like this, we won't survive, or into any army, really. So I think we just take the money. Just take the money. Alright, dead flag, fleet destroyed, assault garrison failure, not our problem. Armies of Xiangyang, we've got... Fight against Jiao Ming's enemies for 10 turns, gain bonus iron favor from victories against Ogre Kingdoms, capture... Destroy Tusked Suns. Free fire rain rocket battery, though. I would have preferred to have Destroy Kolek as the mission, but fair enough. Fair enough. Or Destroy Grimgor. Yeah. Jiao Ming really likes to give missions that we don't really get any benefit out of. And we're supposed to fight against Jiao Ming's enemies. He has one. Clan Krizor. So I assume that's Taitsu here. I don't think we're going over there to fight just these guys, so unless we can get him to fight somebody else, that ain't happening. And I imagine, let's see, join war against Grimgor's boys? He would do it. What about, yeah, but it's fight against them for 10 turns. What's the likelihood of fighting them against, wait a moment, let me just see this again. Fight against Jiao Ming's enemies. So I take it this means be at war with them for 10 turns, but this only offers us a little bit of extra iron favor, whereas this, Destroy Tusked Suns, offers us a fire rain rocket battery, and that just seems better. Either way, we will have Bhashiva hit the Eagle Ares, and Gandhari reinforced to leech the XP. Alright, even circle this, and you go down here. Like so, and we will go for auto-resolve. Lovely. Alrighty, and then we will occupy the place. Grimgor's Ardvo is destroyed. We still have a long way to go before the actual victory conditions, but it's pretty nice. Gashkadrak is also now secured, so we will immediately start collecting income and go into construction reduction. Iron Dragon's Edict. We'll also build the Eagle Ares up and upgrade it immediately, as well as the growth structure here. Next up, Bhashiva, you have leveled again, which gives you Rally. Not quite to the rank 7 red line yet, but we're getting there. Then you can get Arcane Conduit, which unfortunately in vanilla doesn't offer additional spell mastery, but better than nothing. I also saw an item that can be fused into a Staff of Wuxing, Augment of the Winds area. Sure, better than nothing. Actually, you know what? I like the Trickster Shard better. Wait, you were miscasting a lot last time we fought with the Trickster Shard? What the heck? Maybe you have a super high miscast chance base. Huh. I wonder if it was coincidence or whether these guys actually have a higher, the Claw Speakers actually have a higher miscast chance than other casters. I don't see anything that confers additional miscast chance here, but still interesting. You. Okay, so that didn't work, but we only got 4 insignias anyway. The reason I wanted to try that was just to see if this would activate before the turn ended or afterwards. So we will go for 1, 2, 3 Jade Warriors with Halberds and start, well, maybe get a few more, because we do gotta get those for the Jade Warrior army. Lovely. Then, there are no buildings to be upgraded here this turn, but there will be one next turn, and you, I believe, can make your way to Blood Peak now. Yes, there is stuff to be upgraded there, so go to Blood Peak. And, oh, next turn we can start grabbing Tiger Warrior Stalkers for ourselves. Oh, that's a lovely thing, too. Alright, so you go here. We will go for the Fortune's Offerings to get the little bit of cash. And we might actually later switch it to... wait. What buff do we get if it's 0, if it's at nothing? Harmony effects when equal. Campaign movement range, upkeep production, income from all buildings plus 15. Yeah, so later on we'll want to equalize it, but right now, while we're building the province, we'll want as much yin as possible. We have the tannery, so I guess we can go further into Fortune's Offerings and getting us a little bit more money. And frankly, the tradable resources production will be nice here, once we have the Tiger Court enhancements where they need to be. Alright, you two are good. And no additional lords, unfortunately. Ivory Road is still fine, I take it. Neither of you are actually, you are level upable. It's a word. Hidden stores, please. Though again, if you fight again in the next 2 turns, you're dead. And if we lose a caravan, we lose a caravan. What can you do? Anyway, what do we have here? Any buildings to be buildified? No, but next turn we will be able to build up the palace there. Also, you've channeled to the mech, so you can freely move into the settlement. Lovely. Next up, we got diplomacy to check. We got Talabekland and Lamian Sisterhood. How do the Cathayans feel about allying with vamps? Actually, they don't care. The aversion is barely there, but the dwarfs will have a problem with it, and we may want access to some of their stuff. What that Ice Court alliance as well. But it looks like nobody else is going to be doing anything worth anything. No trade agreement with Talabekland, and then thereby, or therefore, no reason to bother with any of their upgrades. Or alliances. Agreements, that's the one. I believe that's an end turn, yes? Yes, we shouldn't do... Huh. I wonder... Is the destroy mission completed if another faction destroys them? I guess maybe we'll find out. I don't imagine Kolek will be hitting Ice Spewer this turn, especially with a full stack there. In fact, he may never hit it with a full stack. Oh, actually, probably will. 4 Dragon Ogres, 3 Chaos Trolls, a Hell Cannon, Chaos Warriors, and Chaos Warhounds of Pestilence, of Poison, rather. That's a pretty good stack, I gotta say. I assume he'll take Blizzard Peak, because it seems that he's moving towards it, and it looks like a easier target than the other territory. Though I guess the question is, will he declare war on us? And it looks like he... it looked like he raised it and then occupied it. Which I guess makes sense for Chaos Warriors. To some degree. He'll want the trade goods, yes? Alrighty. Saberskin destroyed. That's not these guys. Ostland destroyed. Disciplinarian. And Hero Capacity +1. Good. Next up, I believe there were several things that we were wanting to look into, and the next one was this. Battlefield Requisitions. Additional income from post-battle loot, and, well, chance of stealing magic items is nice too, but yeah, anyway. I would like Gandari to move up here, because I want to see what's going on with Kolek and with the Tusked Sun, or with the, yeah, Tusked Suns. I don't see Kolek, and it's making me nervous. You go here. Okay, he's sitting in Blizzard Peak. They're still at war. You go into... Actually, that's a question. Will these two fight in the center? In the field? That... Hello. Ah.
Harmony above all.
That's another problem. We don't know what's in this stack. It could be just piles of garbage, or it could be tons of Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Blunderbusses since it's showing them, or it could even be monsters, and without knowing what's in the stack, we don't know whether we can defend this. And that is obviously not good, TM. So what's the best way to react to this? If it's just a pile of garbage, they might not attack at all. If it's good stuff, they will attack, and will probably win.
A most thoughtful strategy.
Alright, well, we're in an interesting position. Alright, you know what? It's gonna cost us, but I fear that we have no choice but to get to our elites, like this.
There is no cause noble.
Again, I'm not chancing whatever's in there. Insignias. We have 4 Desert Tigress insignias, like so. Power up your range damage, and then the Jade Warriors will need more insignias from you as well. So we will go for... Celestial Emperor insignia. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that'll make you a teensy bit tankier for us. Like so. Better against ogres, but these guys are mostly here to hold the line, not to dish out the damage. We could move you in to reinforce. Oh, actually, nah. You know what? Oh, let's start our... Oh, we can only recruit 1 at a time? Because if they don't attack, then we'll have wasted time. You know what? Here's what we'll do. You, first go here. Then we will build up Titan's Notch, because we need to upgrade it to tier 3. 5.1k, good lord. In order to get the Jade Warrior crossbows and the Gate Master. And then you can go back here. Next turn, we have stuff to upgrade at Blood Peak anyway, so we'll go for the Fortune's Offerings here. And then we will start recruiting our first Tiger Warrior Stalkers. I might actually put some Tiger Warrior Stalkers in the Jade Warrior, or the Jade Warrior Crossbows and just general Jade Warriors army. Alright, you. I would like to see Missions. Capture Black Crag. Yeah, I don't think that's happening, game. At least it's not happening anytime soon. Why are you giving us a mission that's so dang far away? Ugh. This is one of the reasons that the randomized missions with the man-eaters, the ogres, just kind of terrible. Like, you can never, or just bounties, rather, with any of the ogres. It doesn't work well because you get a billion missions that are just not happening ever. Not that I don't like the massive amount of iron favor that this would give us. Anyway, really the only option here decent, to me, is the Tusked Sons one. So we'll try this. If we accept this, are we immediately at war with this faction? We are not, which is actually interesting. Okay, then if we're not at war, I would like Bhashiva to go here. Not in march stance, but in regular stance. You can channel. And we'll see how these two react to each other next turn. I don't imagine they'll attack us, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see. And also with what is in your army. Are you gonna gamble with this? We'll see. Anyway, Wei Jin definitely upgraded. 11k, yeah, we're gonna need money. Did I start collecting money here? I did. I'm almost tempted. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have switched back to... You know what? Well, if we're still recruiting, we can wait until this tier 4 is completed and then switch back to the construction cost reduction. Because this cost us an extra 300 gold or something like that. But again, I suppose we saved some from recruiting. Anyway, that doesn't mean we should stop recruiting. I'm going to say grab 3 more halberds. Or maybe 1 more halberd and 2 swords. Again, I prefer the halberds, but the swords do have the shield, which will be helpful to some degree, although it's a bronze shield, so it's not the biggest of deals. And in vanilla, unlike SFO, we don't get bonus block chance out of the Bastion of the Great Cities. And these guys with the additional stuff are going to be very nice line holders, aren't they? Especially if we have range units to do the damage. Do these guys have an anti-infantry? Oh, they don't actually have an... There's the sword and board don't have an anti-infantry bonus. It's just all of this for this sword. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with... where are we here? Armies of Shangyang. I'm gonna go with a few more. One of the Celestial Emperor insignia, I think. This would make the swords hit a little bit harder, be a little bit less defensive. Maybe we go for 2 of them, just for, you know, reasons. 1... Oh, actually, wait. 2, 3, I just realized that we have 2. We have 2 with Bhashiva, which we're going to trade away anyway, and they already have the Desert Tigress insignia, so that kind of works. Alright, fair enough. Let's do 3 of these then. And then these guys will most likely split off to another army, and we'll need a pile of Jade crossbows, but they will be when this is up and running. Alright, that looks then good to me. Let's double check Diplo, see if we've got anything interesting. Oh, hello. Everybody wants to be friends all of a sudden. Go figure. Alright, non-aggression pact. Reichland. Non-aggression pact. We prefer the trade agreement, but who knows? We might be able to put some of your units to use. We got Thunderguts willing to trade, and by the looks of it, nobody else willing to trade or do anything. Ooh. You're nearly willing for that defensive agreement. Let's do it. And the Wiffa cheese. The what a frickin' name. Anyway. Nothing important by the looks of it.
Celestial ancestors.
The Bastion. That's another location that we'd have to hold, but admittedly, it'll be a lot less likely to be breached if we, the player, hold it rather than letting the AI hold it. So, this is gonna really hurt our public order, but what can you do? Might as well. Oh, of course. That's why they want to confederate. The Dolgan are besieging them. And decent likelihood that they immediately declare war on us next turn, but it is what it is. Wait, Thunderguts are more likely to... Hello, I scored one a trade, yes. We'll pay you 124 gold for this, very much so. And the Thunderguts still want to trade. You know what? They'll die anyway, because they are at war with the Barrow Legion, probably the only ones, so we could just take the money. Oh, it's actually barely any cash. You know what? In the unlikely event that we have to go down there and kill them, maybe we'll do the trade agreement, but I don't want to do too many agreements with them right now. We can always cancel the agreement later, even though Goldtooth won't like it. But that's life. Do it.
The dragons.
Almost accidentally pressed threaten. Luckily we didn't have a luckily we didn't have any kind of deal going. Alright, Central Great Bastion, Western Great Bastion. Let's see what the AI built at the Bastion. Alright, Alright, it's got 2 buildings, the recruitment cost reduction and the defensive reduction, but not the upkeep reduction, which is important in many ways. However, without a actual building that allows us to build, well, things. We can get astromancers out of the Starforged Dairy. Just the one, mind you. Or an alchemist. Again, just the one, unfortunately. Or we just build one of these to get that upkeep reduction and recruit somewhere else. Funnily enough, we can also get the Claw Speaker Shrine. I'm very tempted to go for one of these just to get the hero capacity, but I also wouldn't want to lose the sort of better Bastion territory. Also... Wait, the Bastion collects money now? Or did it always? Maybe it always did. Let's go for the construction cost reduction either way. And I guess the upkeep reduction doesn't help us right now. What? Do you allow us to recruit anything? No, probably just piles of peasants. And then this... Ooh, this one has less stuff. Alright, you go for construction reduction as well, and we'll try to desperately immediately pop off the Bastion lumber pile for the additional defenses. Frankly, we need the growth more than anything else, but you can... Well, we'll get the growth out of this anyway. If the Dolgan attack, it won't survive. And the breach will be made. Annoyingly, they would then probably declare war on us and not these guys, which would then not be so good for us. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit in that confederation, but it's too late now. We're just gonna have to live with the consequences. Alrighty, well, speaking of consequences, what will the Chaos Dwarfs do? What will the Greenskins do? What will Kolek do? Well, let's find out. We want to spend 2,000 to build the... not yet. Build the outpost is what I was getting at, but we'll wait. Alright, Kolek and Ka, Warhost of Oh, what do we have here? Oh. Death Shrieker, eh? Well, this is a bigger issue than I was expecting. We have, admittedly, a ton of orc laborers. The blunderbusses and the Chaos Dwarf Warriors might be something of a problem. Zatan himself here is definitely a problem. I should have given you... Why, we don't have any spare items. The Death Shrieker. That's going to be the biggest issue here. Those Death Shrieker volleys. Can we survive this? I mean, we do have we do have good stuff. I was expecting more blunderbusses and stuff, to be perfectly frank. Well, let's give it a shot.
Fear not death's embrace, for it is the embrace of your loving ancestors.
Alrighty, here we go. What a set of contrasts. We go from that tiny caravan battle with 5 units facing off against 5 units to facing off against 2 full stacks, led by Zatan the Black. And by virtue of that blunderbuss and Death Shrieker rocket, I imagine that this is his starting stack, so that should be at least somewhat concerning. Now, this is going to definitely be an iffy fight, and there are basically 2 ways to approach this. I feel like I chose the worst way, but, well, the worst of the 2, I should say, not the worst way. But anyway, the terrain is quite interesting in this particular map. Lots and lots of impassable terrain and lots of hills. Once again, it's really fun fighting in the mountains and more, and there's really fun terrain to work with. I really enjoy it. But anyway, the way I figured is that if we bum rush this particular portion, Zatan would arrive on field, but he'd be stuck with 2 major choke points, and we could hold off the massive hordes of enemies from doing anything, while we position our long-range Grace of Chua Yin, rather, on top of the hill and fire down at and destroy that Death Shrieker, rather than letting it do anything, because that thing is extremely nasty if we let it hit with its spread shot. The other way to have approached this would be to ignore Zatan's reinforcements completely and move all the way up here, where we'd have basically 1 choke point that the enemy would be forced into while we fire down upon the enemy. But, well, this is the one that we're going with, and we'll see if it works out for us. Anyway, our Iron Hail Gunners get their debut here, gunning down those first laborers. I do enjoy watching the Iron Hail Gunners go to work. Granted, they're nowhere near as strong as high damaging as blunderbusses are, but they're still fairly entertaining. On par with the hand cannons of the Vampire Coast, I suppose. Anyway, the gunners gunned down 2 units of laborers rather rapidly, and our two of our units of Jade Warrior with halberds, and do move in to block off the first of the choke points. So at least that element of the plan is proceeding apace. On the other hand, Zatan has arrived together with a Demon Smith Sorcerer who is actually on a Taurus mount, which ain't as great for us, and I didn't realize. So they've got 2 flyers, and while we would like to surround them with the Doom Dragons, Celestial Dragon Guard, a regiment of renown, unfortunately they get hit by Zatan's sadistic snare and are stuck, pinned in place. But what can you do? All of our range units immediately try to target Zatan and the Demonsmith Sorcerer as the plans have changed. Unfortunately, this also means that the Grace of Chui Yin are not able to move towards that Death Shrieker rocket, which is now positioned up on the hill above, and will begin firing upon us, even as we fire upon its lord. On the other hand, however, we did have a contingency plan. 2 units of Tiger Warriors hidden in the trees back here. They waited until the horde has arrived and are now going to rush up this road, hopefully to get to that Death Shrieker rocket. Too bad we don't have a stock on them as yet, as that would really help. The Death Shrieker, however, is going to fire on the Tiger Warriors, landing a decent shot, while the enemy also hits us with a burning head from its fiery sorcerer. On the bright side, though, Zatan takes a massive amount of damage from all the range fire, and regardless if we win or lose, Zatan is going to run away like a coward, and the sting of that will probably stay with him until the end of his days. Alrighty, and the Tiger Warriors continue making their way towards that Death Shrieker, who is about to hit them again, though unfortunately the enemy has also kept a... damn, that didn't work. Tried to stop ahead of where they were firing. The enemy has also kept a unit of blunderbusses out here, presumably to protect the unit of Death Shriekers, or the Death Shriekers, and unfortunately they're devastatingly damaging, much higher damaging, as I said, than our units of Iron Hail Gunners, and quickly crippled the unit of Tiger Warriors, who again really needs stock. Now, we switch our Grace of Chui Yin to target those blunderbusses, but the rest of the fight continues. On the bright side, the enemy Sorcerer has at this point been felled, or the Demonsmith rather, has been felled at the, well, by focus fire for all of our range units, in the same way that Zatan did. We've also left some gaps in our lines of long spears, which is allowing our Iron Hail Gunners to continuously fire through them, and hopefully cut down a decent amount of those laborers, but there are just so dang many. Ooh, and a big old volley from the enemy cannon comes down. One single hit from that Death Shrieker rocket takes half of the HP off that unit of peasant guns, and by the looks of it, another one's about to hit. On the bright side, Zatan came back and will not live to tell the tale, at least not this time. I mean, he is immortal, but you know what I mean. Alright, and unfortunately our Lord Magistrate, he's actually been eating Spirit Leeches from essentially the beginning of the fight, as there is yet another Spellcaster of Death somewhere in there. Another Death Shrieker rocket comes down upon us, and the battle is looking very close. The balance is about 30% in our favor only. What we do have in our favor, however, is this choke point is working for us, and those 2 units of Jade Warriors with halberds, which have now been joined by the Doom Dragons, Celestial Dragon Guard, they are still very much holding. So I can't decide whether we should put the Celestial Dragon Guard, or the Doom Dragons in particular, with the Jade Warrior army, because they have the green jade sort of armor rather than the sort, as in they would match the Jade Warriors maybe even more than more than Celestial Dragon Guard units. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll think about it. Anyway, in the meantime, the Grace of Chui Yin have at last positioned themselves where we wanted them to from the very start, and have moved up to where they can at last fire on that darn Death Shrieker rocket. We put to the Mark of Yin upon it to make sure that it has no resistances and its armor is lowered, and about 4 volleys should bring it down. In fact, 3 volleys will most likely force it to rout. By the looks of it, it is lining up a shot and will send one last rocket our way before it routs. Just shoots it before it routs. And not a bad shot. That takes about 25, maybe 30% of our HP, but at the cost of the Death Shrieker. Mount's power, however, does remain in the enemy's favor, and our Jade Warriors are being worn down and are at about 25%-ish of their HP. On the bright side, most of our range units are continuing to fight, including Grace of Trey Yin, who now has a very nice vantage point to fire down into the main enemy blob. There are still Chaos Dwarf Warriors, Blunderbusses, and the Mage still in here, the Sorcerer Lord of Death, or the Sorcerer Prophet of Death, and thus the Grace of Trey Yin will target them as long as the rest of our line holds. And if you're wondering where the heck our Lord is going, we're backing him as far away as possible so that the enemy cannot overcast the Spirit Leech and kill him. That would be bad. TM. And also, if he died, I'm pretty sure we would not be able to get any defeat trait, although I am perhaps getting a little bit ahead of myself as the bounce power remains very much in the enemy's favor, though they are starting to lose critical units, and it doesn't look like they're managing to hold off that choke point, or to break through that choke point, rather. As well, both the Grace of... What the heck are you firing at? What are you doing? Oh, they were trying to fire at this guy and promptly killed a bunch of Iron Hail Gunners. I was just about to say the Iron Hail Gunners are still very much firing, however. And between them and the Grace, the Sorcerer Prophet of Death will fall. Okay, it's kind of hard to tell, but there you go. Down he goes. Damn, those are bright. Our Jade War Drum is also extremely badly damaged at this point. You gotta be careful about that. Luckily, it is a Regiment of Renown, so we will get it back even if it dies. But you know, we did spend money on it, and I'd hate to lose it immediately after. But I suppose if we are to lose a unit, it's better to lose a Regiment of Renown than not. Anyway, in the same way that the Grace of Trey Yin have made their way up the hill, we will send several units of Iron Hail Gunners up and then downhill to start firing into the enemy's flanks and making sure that enemy routing units are well shattered and not able to continue the fight. There we go. And another unit has shattered. The bounce power is now at about 40% in our favor. Still in the enemy's favor, of course, but our Jade Warriors are still holding. Why did you draw your swords? Keep firing. You had like 5 minutes to still fire upon these guys. Way too early. Frankly, a full volley would have probably seen these guys out. Bunch of idiots. Have the Tigers eat their commander. Alrighty, anyway, the Orc Laborers will rout. And the Grace is still firing at those blunderbusses, which are at this point pretty much destroyed. And with the fall of the enemy Sorcerer Prophet of Death, the Lord Magistrate has returned to buff us with that leadership, which is once again allowing the rest of our units, or at least some of the rest of our units, to hold. The Peasant Spears are out, with the Jade Warriors and the Celestial Dragon Guard still hold off the Chaos Dwarfs, which are the only two units that seem to still be in the fight, as most of the Laborers are booking it on out of there. Alright, and though it was a close call, the balance of power at long last, despite being in the enemy's favor for the entire fight, shifts in our favor, and the battle is ours. Took almost everything this army had to pull it off, in large part because that Death Shrieker did not die when we wanted it to die, and of course we had no artillery of our own, and no mage of our own either, which the enemy very much had, with those Spirit Leeches hitting the War Drum and our Lord, and those darn burning heads, plus the abilities from Zatan. But hey, random level 1 Lord defeating Zatan the Black, that's a pretty good thing in my book. Oh, good lord, that was way too close. I regret positioning in the way that I ended up positioning. If I were to do that battle again, I would position all the way on the other side of the map. I didn't expect both of the gambit with the Tiger Warriors rushing the artillery. I maybe didn't wait long enough, and rather the gambit with positioning the Grace of Trey Yin on top of the mountain to fire at the artillery piece, also to fail until all the way to the end, allowing that darn Death Shrieker to get 16,000 damage. And yeah, that was not great. I thought we were close enough to pressure it, but we were just slightly too far. Ooh, but we did manage to hold, if only just slightly. Now, there are some units remaining. They're mostly garbage, but we'll just heal up just in case. Who knows? There could be a third army over there for all we know. Man. Dune Dragons, 22k damage, 21k, 33, and 29k damage on those Jade Warriors with Halberds. They certainly held the line against the Orc Laborers, and did so for a long time, which is exactly what we wanted out of them. The Grace of Trey Yin, perhaps surprisingly, were, at least in terms of pure damage dealt, outdamaged by the Iron Hail Gunners, but these guys were firing more at basic garbage, whereas these guys were focusing down elite units, so kind of makes sense. Anyway, heal up. And what? Confederation penalty. I was like, wait a second, why don't you like us? What the heck, man? We're literally, you're in charge. You want us to join the war against Clan Crizzor. Now, I don't see any point in doing so. Especially considering they're basically just a stone's throw away from our southern settlements. They could, and considering anti-player bias, probably would just bypass Zhao Ming's territories and move towards us instead. So, how about they don't? Alrighty, what do we have here? Oh wow, they didn't fight. Go figure. Alright, long way around, successfully complete 5 caravan. Hey, they're done, good for them. Gormadni tribe destroyed and killed in battle. Well, I know who's gonna be our artillery lord now, so I guess we just gotta build up that grand cannon building. Fair enough. Yeah, you can have the spotter thing, though frankly, you will automatically have spotter when you're on a skyline. Hello. Von Karstein blade, yes. Frankly, that seems significantly better than the blades of Shangyang, just by virtue of the regeneration, as Bhashiva is kind of fragile, but nonetheless, we will give that to somebody else. Not you, Raja Caravan. And warrant of trade, sale value of cargo and income from trade tariffs faction-wide. And does anybody know, does the sale of value of cargo conferred to all caravans, or is it only the caravan that is specifically holding this thing? Because if that caravan dies, it would be unfortunate, but I'm not entirely sure. I guess Abhishek is probably our strongest caravan anyway. Huntsman? You traveled all the way to frickin' Sylvania to get a garbage unit of frickin' Huntsman? That's what you got, Huntsman. Oh, good lord. Okay, well, that's garbage. What can you do? At least Abhishek got a great cannon out of it. Unusual location in Blackfang. What we got? Ranger Outpost. That's it? That's it? That's all it does? Doesn't even... Okay. This gives us a little tiny garrison. That's terrible. It's a terrible location. Maybe something will happen there that will make it more useful eventually. Hope so. Anyway, research technologies. What do we... Wait. Oh, yeah, you're going to the income from post-battle loot. That's fair enough. Fair enough, and... What? Why? Why?
The dragon-blooded.
Why are you no longer... Oh, you went... Yeah, you have no... Oh, I could have used you to reinforce... well, granted, we didn't know that there were going to be 2 armies there and might not have needed the reinforcement, but still. Alright, actually, speaking of, can you chase this guy down? Just barely by the looks of it. Go for it. Won't be able to go after the second guy, but we should be able to knock this guy down. Auto-resolve. And take the, I guess, heal just in case. I assume you won't be able to catch this guy? No, they can travel further than we can. Oh, well, what can you do? Let's get you. I don't really care about Will of the Dragons, and Harmony +1 Yang local province. I don't think we care about that as either. What we do want is to get... Where is Vanguard deployment? Oh, it's here, the Art of War. So frankly, we'll probably want to save points until then. Let's grab Improved Inspiring Presence for the additional unit experience gain, but otherwise just hold off until we can get what we want out of all of this. Grand Tactician is nice, though. It needs 4 points, so we could get it next turn, but then if we ignore it, we could get full army vanguard deployment, speed, upkeep reduction. Yeah, magistrates have good stuff. Don't care for the Dawnstone, however, so you can lose that. Well, actually, no, hold on to it until we can turn it into something useful. And then stay there. These guys are going to have to be delivered, but the recruitment will also have to continue, but in 3 turns, so you're going to have to wait. Blood Peak! What do we have here? We could go for the money building, or we could... Well, actually, no, that won't help, will it? Huh, I wonder, if we go for the Fire Dragon's Edict, I wonder if that can counteract the negative recruitment thing. Certainly a possibility. And we'll think about it. What we also may want to, in theory, do is grab the peasant stables at max level in order to reduce the cost of the tribal pavilion, though it will have a... pretty big public order malice. The other option would be to build any of the hero buildings, which we could build here instead, rather than the money building. And we do want heroes. I cannot remember. Astromancers, you have steel tech, and alchemists, you do not have steel tech. Though, we do want alchemists for our armies as well. And considering we're with Zhao Ming, frankly, we should have more alchemists or some kind of bonus to the ability to get the alchemist. You know what I mean? We can also grab a couple of Celestial Lions for Bhashiva if we go through the this from the Celestial Forge. That'd be a decent idea. Yeah, I'll just do it. Why not? I like it. Plus, we'll get steel tech that way. Do we have anything building here? No, not this turn, but yes, next turn. Therefore, you're not recruiting. You, bureaucrat, are going this way. You will then want additional insignias, just the 3 for the Jade Warriors with halberds. I'm actually kind of tempted to grab another bureaucrat if we have another one available. We do. But we wouldn't be able to afford it anyway unless we fight right now, which I believe we can't do anyway. Anyway, you are going to go into ambush stance. Gonna go right here into Ice Spewer, and then you will act as potentially bait in case these guys attack you rather than fight each other. We'll see what happens. Whoa! Okay, it's busy over here. What the heck? Ooh, another relic! Oh, things keep happening. Though, if these guys declare war on us, they would probably promptly move to the Eagle areas. Well, nonetheless. Alright, well, this certainly got interesting quick. Actually, it's been interesting from the start. I've very much been enjoying the kitties. Anyway, you are good in Wei Jin. Looks like the Puppets of Misrule are on the way. We'll probably want to set up a lord here to defend Dragon Gate. I didn't want to do the recruits here, but I think maybe we'll just have to grab a couple of garbage peasants in order to encamp. Do this. Grab 1 peasant archer, and then these guys are buildable in 1 turn, so grab 3 peasant long spears. And just to set up on the walls. I don't know whether... Oh, we can recruit peasants here. Then maybe it would be faster to go into march stance and try to get over here faster. I believe Village can't teleport over the bastion, can he? I don't remember. I guess we'll find out. Go here. And... oh, I thought he was besieging... wait. We're at war with him. Oh, he can reach Dragon Gate, which unfortunately might not survive. I guess we'll see. This place should be a lot safer. You know what? A risk building up or upgrading the buildings anyway. The recruitment cost reduction and the Bastion Siege works, and we could build the other thing now to grab the... I went for the Astromancer, so good. Grab the Alchemist. Give it a try. Expensive, but, well, we're gonna need stuff. Wei Jin should be safe, at least. If we had the Bureaucrat here, we could upgrade all of these things for cheaper, but alas, the Bureaucrat is not here right now. If we got a little bit more iron favor, we'd be able to get another one. But anyway, Ivory Road, we got caravans to be caravanning. So, you. I took away that Von Karstein blade. I did not. Okay, let's lose that Von Karstein blade from that fella. And wait. You have... which is the stronger caravan? This one has a lot of peasantry, but a decent amount of range available to it. Abhishek has these 3, plus the dwarf and stuff, and the great cannons. But he's also significantly higher level, and will be unyielding until we can get hidden stores maxed out, which is at rank 8, so that's next level. Alright, Priyanesh Caravan, you're moving next. Let us grab you. Inspiring Presence into... Start with cargo capacity, go into hidden stores afterwards. Let's then send you on your way.
More like it.
We haven't been to Myrmidons, right? We went to Marienburg, and we went to Castle Drakenhof. Myrmidons we have not been to. So I guess we could try going this way. Give it a shot. Try to survive. Like so. Then, we will get a new caravan, because we've no choice in the matter, as these are returning to capital. You're a ranged tactician, infantry, missile infantry ranged increased by 10%, which is okay. I guess that... Wait, I assume that applies to stalkers as well. What about Celestially Blessed? Oh, the one with the Longma Riders. We already have that one, right? That's you. Yeah, for variety's sake, I guess we'll go for ranged tactician, although admittedly this isn't a very strong army otherwise, but who knows, we could pick up some more range units and that'll make it nice. Alrighty, then, I believe there's a decent likelihood of actually being able to pick up more range units at Karazakarak and Barakvar, so though we haven't gone out here, the longer trips probably are only good for the stronger caravans. So I think we'll send you to Karazakarak. It's relatively close by, it'll still give us some decent iron favor, and it won't go through the faction territories that we're at war with, so let's do this. Lovely. And we'll hopefully increase the caravan number as soon as we can. Otherwise, we built the buildings, we've done the things, we will check the Diplo. Thunderguts still alive somehow, where Host of Jar doesn't want peace. Oh, interesting. I do wonder if that means that they have more armies out there. Distinct possibility, and maybe I jumped the gun in moving you forward like this. But it is what it is. Also here, if we can kill off these, or at least one of these armies, we might be able to level Taoyan up to level 12 and send her to this army, which was always the plan. Though the Iron Hail Gunners and some of the other stuff isn't supposed to be in here. They can keep the Jade War Drum with the Jade Warriors, though. That makes sense, right? Yes. I answer my own questions. Anyway, let us skip. Wait, where is Satang? Oh, right, we need the frickin' lions and stuff. Alright, fair enough. And lastly, we have one of these relics. Now, we could go all the way to tier 3 here, which would allow us the melee attack and defense bonus. Granted, we're already recruiting stuff, which probably could have used it, but we could always punt those things to other armies and redo it as needed. So yeah, we'll go for level 3 devotion here. Teachings of Kamau. And this also enables to grab one of these. Enables stalking stance for all Tiger Warrior Sawai Lords, replenishes campaign movement range after winning a battle, all Lords, versus enables campaign ability, receives 50% to campaign movement range. Alright, to catch things. So I guess we do this. And is this just permanent? And I take it we get one out for each one? Yes. Though, relic-wise, I think it would be better to just go all the way to tier 5 here, because it would enable us to get our short victory condition. Ooh, wait. That reminds me. Claw Speaker. What do we have here? Martial Artist and Fleet of Foot. Strong. Not bad. Might be capable of fighting. Ooh, you have Strategist? A, you could Vanguard deploy with the rest of the Tigers, and B, that's quite nice. It's a shorter version of it, I believe, at 18 seconds, but it's quite nice. Ambush success chance, that's nice. Stalker. I wanted a Claw Speaker of Life, but I'm not sure I like these as much as the other stuff. Although Martial Artist isn't too bad. I'm inclined to go Strategist. You can stay with the main line. I did want one of every type of Claw Speaker anyway. In Bhashiva's army specifically. And then we'll keep an eye out on these ones and then see if we get a better trait. Frankly, if we get another Strategist, then that would be real swell. I wouldn't mind a strong one either, though. We have the lettered one that levels fast in Bhashiva's army, which I've been reasonably happy with, and frankly, another lettered one wouldn't be too bad either if we can catch one. Anyway, I catch Tiger by the toe. Oh, I'm so stupid. I believe we're good to end the turn. Okay. Very curious about what the heck is going to go down here. I assume Kolek will... Okay, that did not happen in any way in the way that I expected it. I assume Kolek will now kill off Arda Full of Teeth. Yes, he will. Faction being destroyed. Really? You're attacking? Huh. Interesting. Admittedly, though, it's a bastion defense. Can we say no to a bastion defense? No. No, we cannot. Fight. Alrighty, here we go, a bastion defense. I feel like I haven't done one of these in like a year or something. It's been absolute ages since I recall actually defending the bastion, which is pretty off, or odd rather. As I do really enjoy the Cathay faction and what they've got with their roster. Now, from what I can recall of Bastion defenses, the defensive location is actually designed so that you don't stay on the outer wall and then retreat after annoying the enemy to the sort of either the key building or the citadel all the way back there, because these locations have a lot of tower positions available to them. In fact, this particular place has 4 towers positioned around a single key building, which is going to be extremely nasty for the enemy to deal with. Now, in the way that we've deployed this, we've actually deployed all of our archers over on the right side of the battlefield, where the enemy has deployed 3 of its trolls. It was basically a choice, either concentrate our range fire on the left flank for 1 unit of trolls and 1 Blood Shriek Chimera, or concentrate it on the right flank to kill off these 3 units of trolls, and I decided on the trolls. Is that the right decision? Kind of hard to say, but, you know, had to pick, and this is what I picked. Peasant archers are also helping out by firing upon the marauders of Tzeentch with spears. I was hoping that these unshielded marauders would be brought down before they managed to climb up the walls, but we do have a unit of Jade Warriors helping them out here as well. On the left flank, however, we're having a much tougher time, as we A, don't have a lot of Jade Warriors here, and B, the Blood Shriek Chimera is essentially got free reign. There's nothing here that can hurt it. Jade Warriors are basically no threat to it whatsoever, especially up on the wall in its current state. So they're just there to distract and keep the towers of the wall firing. On the bright side, the enemy's right flank has, if not quite collapsed, is very close to it. The trolls are all shattered. The marauders are nearly done. There is a lord up here at full HP, however, and an exalted hero, plus a Chaos Warrior unit which have climbed up. But hopefully we can distract them long enough with our Jade Warriors to move, reposition our crossbows, and start firing upon all of them once more. Plus, I suppose every second that the enemy takes to deal with these guys up on the wall is another tick of the supply points, and that will enable us to build more of those towers. And hopefully, if we manage to build all 4 explosive towers, it'll be extremely ugly for the enemy once they get to the main citadel. Anyway, it's time to start getting away from these walls. We did sally out briefly with one of those peasant long spears, which once again is a very viable strategy, especially if you have lots of ranged units, but we only had that over on one side, so, and didn't repeat it on the other. We have constructed our first tower, and we also have 2 of our Jade Warriors plus a unit of peasant long spears here, and they may be needed to cover the retreat of the crossbows, as obviously the Jade Warriors are not particularly high damage dealing units, and we need the crossbows to do the work. Peasant archers have 1 armor-piercing damage. Yeah, you're not going to be very helpful against the non-marauder units. And we got 6 armor-piercing damage on the Jade Warrior crossbows, which seems less than you'd think, as obviously crossbows are going to be a little bit, well, I guess they are technically here 6 times more armor penetrating than the bows of the archers, so fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch up on the wall now, still being held off rather by the Jade Warriors, but obviously the armor-piercing halberds and just the better stats of the Chaos Warriors will soon see that unit of Jade Warriors cut down, but not before the Chaos Warriors eat many a crossbow bolt. Or at the very least, hopefully a few more. The left side of the Bastion Gate, however, has at this point pretty much collapsed in the same way as most of the enemy's right flank has collapsed. We're actually also firing upon the enemy Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Metal, who... Is that a Forbidden Rod? Oh, Rod of Torment? Use something. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Anyway, now the enemies are making their way down off the wall, and we have to be careful about these Jade Warrior crossbows, so we're going to start bagging them off a little bit further, while we construct the second Tier 4 explosive tower here. And get ready to fall back and defend that particular location. Bounce power does remain in the enemy's favor, but with 3 of their units of trolls out, actually 2 of their units of trolls out. One has apparently returned, and with troll regeneration should recover at least somewhat, but obviously it won't bring them back from the dead, as this is not horrible regeneration, and thus it is still going to be limited to those 6 units. Also, I gotta admit, the Great Bastion actually looks pretty fantastic with the Tzeentchian corruption everywhere. I actually like it quite a bit. I gotta compare what it looks like with Cornate Corruption and Slaaneshi Corruption and Nurglade Corruption and see which corruption makes it look the best. And even though the Skaven Corruption would make it look nice and green, it is generally too dark and thus probably wouldn't look as good, even if the green does match all the Jade stuff. But anyway, let's see what we're doing here. Looks like a unit of doggos is apparently going to menace the unit of Peasant Archers, which is a bit of a shame, as they wanted to get away just like the Jade Warrior crossbows, but less critically. They'll fire point blank into the Chaos Warhounds, and the Chaos Warhounds will then get rear charged by a unit of Peasant Horse, which we were saving peasants, moving to try to save the other peasants. And fairly successfully by the looks of it, as the Chaos Warhounds are shaken and down to about 40% of their HP, torn to shreds by these units. But those that were holding the wall are pretty much out of the picture at this point and will soon start making their way towards the Citadel. Well, again, not the Citadel, but the key building. Actually, speaking of, here they come. The first of the enemy trolls and the dogs start making their way forward and into our unit of peasant long spears. We allow them to absorb the charge, and this is the point of the battle where I realized I screwed up. I've been playing SFO way too long, and seeing the horrific accuracy of this particular tower made me realize that these are vanilla towers. They are not SFO towers, which means they are direct fire towers, and they don't arc their shots. A, this means their accuracy is pretty darn bad, and B, it means that these 2 towers will actually not be able to fire here at all, which is unfortunate. It also, however, means I guess it was a good decision not to deploy here, because by virtue of them being direct fire towers, these 2 trees would block pretty much every shot onto the Victory Plaza. I still don't really understand why the devs designed it this way, but there are lots of locations in towers in these places where they can't fire, like they wouldn't be able to fire through here or through any of this, or because of the tree, they can basically fire in this narrow range. And that's already with them being direct fire instead of indirect fire like an SFO. But oh well, what can you do? That's my bad on that one. Hopefully the towers will still do enough work. At the very least, the Warhounds are so fragile, the whatever units are here will be able to destroy them regardless. And the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal, actually just a regular Chaos Sorcerer rather than a Lord, will get pincushioned by the 3 units of Jade Warrior crossbows, which have now arrived to help out. And seriously, tower, what are you firing at? Ugh, this is not a good sign. We basically can't count on those things to help against single entities at all, which is not so great. And by the looks of it, that Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch is probably going to come back. Alright, there are some trolls out here. Hopefully we can fire upon them as well. There is a cannon tower here, but by the looks of it, it's not going to be able to fire through these buildings either, so it can only fire here. Alright, there we go. Yes, go this way, trolls. There we go, and that actually missed it. I can't believe it missed. Oh, Lord. Okay. I am, at this point, very much regretting sending these units, or not keeping these units to protect the walls and sending them back here. But what can you do? Alright, on the bright side though, like, really another missed cannon tower? Why did I even bother building it? I should have just built a bunch of barricades for the platforms. And both of these towers miss as well. Well, at least the crossbows have better accuracy, and as the trolls charge them, all 3 units of crossbows take aim, let fly, and the chaos trolls start wavering. One more volley should force them to flee, and hopefully shatter. In fact, the volley drops 2 out of the 5 that were still in the fight, and a few follow-up arrows will make sure that they shatter and or fall. Oh, lovely. Alright, those units are gone. What else do we have on the battlefield? Bounce power is at about, oh lord, only about 20% in our favor. More enemies have arrived, but with this being a unit of marauders, really? Okay, this even being a unit of marauders, hopefully the towers can actually help decently well against them. The enemy will pop off a Plague of Rust, but it will use it on the Peasant Longspears rather than the Jade Warriors. So that's unfortunate for it. And the troll. Wait, were those 2 the ones that ran away? Huh. Well, they came back, but now the pincushioning continues, and their morale does not improve. Alright, and it looks like these marauders are in pretty bad shape now, and by the looks of it, without too much help for the frickin' tower. Would you just land one shot point blank? That's all I want. Now, what the heck was that? What is that? What are you... Oh, Osopo was absolutely spoiled me, man. There you go, beautiful. Finally, a shot right into the center of the tower. Oh, and I take it the explosive tower just fires one rocket like a rocket battery. No, seriously, what are you firing at? Oh, and were you firing at these guys? You still missed, but at least you're trying. Bless your heart. Anyway, the Marauders of Tzeentch are in pretty bad shape now, and as are the regular Marauders. With the Jade Warriors still perfectly fine to continue cutting them down and holding them off. Unfortunately, we are almost completely out of ammunition on our Jade Warrior crossbows, and that's not good because the Chimera is still out there somewhere, hunting down the last remnants of our units on the walls, and thusly is going to, well, be difficult to deal with. See, now, if this was SFO, this explosive tower would simply lob its shot over this thing and fire at the Lord, but fortunately, we do bring him down. Or was that the Sorcerer? Whoever it was, he's dead now. Alrighty, and we'll make sure to try to chase down those marauders of various kinds with our unit of Peasant Horse to make sure that they shatter and don't come back. Though, interestingly, pretty much all of the enemies are fighting near to the last man. And frankly, not shattering with about 2% HP remaining and 6 units remaining. Come on now. And we've got a unit of dogs coming back with about 5 to 10% of their HP, but the dogs are so fragile that we should be good. Alrighty, and... so the enemy's also been running around and capturing the other key locations. It cannot, however, capture the Victory Plaza until the key building is captured, which is why we deployed here and not the Victory Plaza. Well, actually, the reason we deployed here was because it has 4 towers, but as we've learned, these 2 are going to be completely useless and do absolutely nothing. Maybe I should have gone for the cannon towers here rather than the explosive towers. Would have been better for the single entities. But all good. We're all good-ish. Anyway, looks like the Peasant Horse have managed to chase down those marauders with spears, and it looks like some doggos are coming back, but we'll expend a little bit of the ammunition to make sure that they're out of the picture. And then promptly switch targeting to the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch, who are now moving down this little street here. These guys are still at about 40% of their HP. And the cannon tower is doing absolutely nothing to slow them. Hey, that one got hit though. Not in the center of the formation, but hey, that's a lot better than most of those shots. Alright, and by the looks of it, we're actually going to need to send one of the Jade Warriors. There we go, nice shot. One of the Jade Warriors into the formation, the one that has run out of ammunition, to pin these guys in place. In the meantime, a rear charge comes in from the enemy Marauder Chariots of Tzeentch. Actually, these are the followers of the Great Eagle, specifically, Regiment of Renown, so they're going to apply Warp Flame to us. But hopefully, with the last remnants of our ammunition and with the last shots of those towers, we can bring those followers down. Alright, come on, surround and destroy it. 165 HP. Somebody. Nope. That's a big miss on an extremely slow-moving chariot. Come on. Somebody poke it with your spear. 53 HP. This thing better not escape. I'm going to be so salty. And I'm very invested in this. There we go. At long last, it gets brought down. The towers can... Huh, apparently that tower really wanted that tree destroyed. Which, you know what? Fair enough. The tree's blocking off artillery shots. I'd be angry at them, too. And, okay, now it's firing at our own troops. Okay. I think the gunners of the towers, if anybody deserves to... Finally, if anybody deserves to be eaten by the tigers... I think it's whoever is firing those shots. Anyway, with our warriors or Jade Warrior crossbows having spent their ammunition, the only damage we have remaining is unfortunately the towers. So we are completely reliant on them actually landing their shots. We're going to try a quick little morale shock by rear charging the unit of Tzeentchian warriors, and though they are effectively fighting to the last man, come on, they're wavering. It's a little bit more work. There we go, and by the looks of it, they are done, just as we get hit with the Plague of Rust. Okay, now, what else do we have here? The enemy lord is still in the fight, and he's been surrounded by these units of Jade Warriors for absolute ages. And I fully expect, firing into the buildings now. Yeah, and see, this is another reason why I feel like whoever built this settlement made it in... Settlement made it in such a way that makes no sense. Why would you put places for towers where they are pretty much guaranteed to fire into your own buildings? Unless this is the type of building that you're, specifically trying to be able to fire upon. Like a sort of second line of defense, like if there's another wall to fire upon like an inner wall to fire upon the outer wall if that portion of the outer wall got taken. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Metal, still in the fight. Unfortunately, these Jade Warriors are shaken and exhausted, and the Exalted Hero in the meantime has pretty much cut down a bunch of Jade Warriors as well. He's at 172 kills and 11k damage. And gotta appreciate him. But we have no armor piercing and no way to do damage other than the towers, which refuse to land their shots. And we can't leave the key building because if it gets captured, even these towers would go away. Which I'm saying because the cannon towers do potentially have more single target damage available to them. If we can make it work. And nice shot right into the backs of our own units. We have now charged the Jade Warriors at the Pink Horrors in order to hopefully cut down enough of them, or at the very least pin them in place and allow the tower to actually land a few shots here and there. And if you're wondering why that was necessary, it was because these guys were actually firing away at the tower. Granted, these cannon towers have done pretty much nothing over the course of this battle, but I was hoping to keep them alive nonetheless. Anyway, the Jade Warrior crossbows still blocking off that Chaos Sorcerer Lord, who's down to 725 HP now. Not really taking too much in the way of damage from the Jade Warrior crossbows. But they have more HP, and I didn't want to originally send the units of Peasant Long Spears at them, because they're technically our Lord unit, and if they get destroyed, then, bad. Unfortunately, the Chimera has arrived, smartly having waited until the ammunition was all spent from our crossbows, because obviously if it had moved in, we would have pin-cushioned it as a priority. And as soon as the Chimera comes in, the fear and terror it causes forces the last of our remaining units here to flee, and this gate of the Bastion to fall. A bit of a shame, but an absolutely great last stand. I always love last stand battles, as they are so rare, and these defensive battles as well. Yeah, maybe we should have put a Lord in here, but it would have cost us all of our iron favor, and we did just randomly get this territory with a confederation, so it's not like we had time to build up buildings or garrison or anything like that, and also it's not like it really matters, so not a big deal. But what a great fight. Man, this episode is just fantastic fights all around. Alrighty, there we go. Honestly, that was a pretty magnificent last stand. But you know what? The AI earned this particular victory. That was well met, or it was well fought, let's say. And partially my fault. I did completely forget that the towers in vanilla are awful, and they are so much less effective than an SFO. If I could remember it, I wouldn't have withdrawn half of our army and back to the Citadel and would have just fought on the walls, instead making use of the wall towers rather than the terrible accuracy buildable towers. But it is what it is. It's not a big deal. We don't really care about the Bastion A and B. Once again, you know, AI's gotta do some stuff, and it will probably. Well, actually, this army is no longer viable, so it's not going to go after the other ones. Oh, and we'll have to back off our Lord, but we'll probably have to put a Lord in the other Bastion location. But anyway, we'll get it back. Or maybe Miao Ying will get it back. Who knows? We shall see. I do love a nice last stand, though. Now, I am curious to see whether this mission is completed. What is this? Add a Claw Speaker of Beasts for 500. Huh. Now, here's a question. Does this reduce our Claw Speaker capacity? Let's find out. Ambush foiled, faction destroyed, and magic drained, enemy killed, settlement lost, mines muddled, ready for duty, and mission successful. Hey, why thank you, Kolek. You do good work, sir. Free fire rain rocket for our new artillery lord, or maybe not quite artillery lord, but you know, he'll certainly have artillery. And with this increasing artillery range, that will be quite valuable for the fire rain rocket that he's going to have. Isn't it beautiful? In fact, assuming that... we have to go back to our territory to do this? Oh, we're right beside our territory. Alright, fine. We'll go here. And we'll get you that artillery piece. Wait, we'll get you that artillery piece like this. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, what do we have going on here? Snake Gate, I'm willing to bet won't fall. Are you at war with these guys? You are at war with these guys, huh? Maybe they'll reclaim that Bastion Gate themselves. Frankly, only holding one gate would probably make it easier for us, but anyway. You return to Wei Jin there and we'll build stuff. Ooh, including that Eastern Bazaar. Huh, actually, oh. If the gate wasn't breached, I'm now wondering whether these guys would be willing to trade Mingzhu to complete this province for Snake Gate. Just out of curiosity. Huh? You can't trade Bastion territories? Well, that's curious. I did not know that. I could have sworn you could. I swear I've traded Bastion territories before. I am somewhat surprised by this, but not a big deal. Next up, we need 4 units of Iron Hail Gunners and something, and we'll be able to complete the tier 3 of this and get the next part of our thing. Ooh, Grant's Talisman, Zinchbane Teeth. I do wonder whether whether there will be another one of those little armies that will attack us. It's a distinct possibility. Speaking of armies, and speaking of attacking, Kolek is right there in march stance. And while Ostrogoth is also right there, this seems like too good of an opportunity to wipe Kolek out. I don't imagine we can steal that Crown of Everlasting Conquest, can we? It would be nice if we could, though. Yeah, you are going to go into Stalking Stance. And we are going to go after Kolek. You're going to have to march stance to reinforce. Well, that is what it is. Fair enough. And then you, now that you have your Fire Rain rocket, we will send you this way. We will, I guess, go around to Blizzard Peak. I'm going to risk there being an army here because we probably destroyed most of their major forces. It'll be a bit before they come back. So you go around this way, head to Blizzard Peak. Well, if it isn't Kigal Jarbaz, rather. I do wonder whether he's going to go for Gorger Rock, which is pretty poorly defended. He can't take Karak Vrag, though. And we have invested in Gorger Rock, though, so I don't particularly like the idea of you attacking it, Also, we have this now. Units recruited in this territory, so just to double check that this works. Yeah, we do have, let's see, 38, 28 with 1 building. Now, what I don't know is if it stacks, and I am inclined to find out. And this is the control building. We have the money building here, which we will build up anyway. And I guess... we already have this building here. Oh, so this is actually 16%. What was it again? I'm gonna forget, aren't I? 28 and 15. Alright, wait, 38 and 28. That's easier to remember. Let's put another one in here. Yeah, I know it'll forgo the exotic animal tamer, but it is what it is. We have no room for growth in this particular location anyway, and I'm curious to see if this will work. So it's immediately go into a leader's pillar. Plus the control here being high would also be probably pretty good for us. As for which territory we want to upgrade, if we upgrade the Gem Cutter's Workshop, we'd be able to get Tiger Warrior Stalkers here without recruiting from all the way down here, which would be good. Also, okay, didn't take our capacity for the claw speakers, which is also good. And speaking of claw speakers, maybe we should give a claw speaker to one of these guys as well. Because this army currently does not have a caster. I wanted to put an alchemist in there, but this army will definitely need a claw speaker if nothing else. Though it depends on what kind. Well, actually, metal with all the iron claw tiger warriors would also be kind of nicely functional. Anyway, I will think about it by killing things. Hell, you're at war with Tamerkhan. By killing his main stack, he probably... well, we'll see. Jamming goals completed. Fight against enemies of Jiaoming. Take Black Crag. Yeah, that's not helpful. Alright, well, sorry, buddy. You have to die now. Is this a necessary war? Depends on how you look at it. You, go here. Oh, I don't like the fact that you'll both suffer attrition after this, but it's an opportunity to wipe out Kolek's main stack, and I think we got to take it. Oh, we're kind of out of time. Oh, but it's right there. Screw it. Kill.
The prey awaits us.
Alrighty, there's that ambush because they're in march stance that made them extra susceptible. The Dragon Ogres and the Chaos Trolls are still going to be toughies, and we also got to remember that unlike an SFO, the vigor loss from the march stance doesn't matter nearly as much in vanilla. It's not a big deal if you get caught in march stance, but maybe it is a big deal if Kolek gets caught while ambushed because we have buffs when ambushing. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Time to remind these wretches of our strength and remind ourselves that Bhashiva is technically an ambush lord, even if we haven't gotten the chance to ambush anybody. As yet, Kolek will be the first to feel the tiger's wrath. We charge on in with our various units of basic tiger warriors into the center of the enemy formation, rapidly cutting down all their dogs, while at the rear of the column, we have deployed all 4 of our units of crossbows to fire into the units of the Dragon Ogres and Trolls, as well as that Hell Cannon, but it was pretty much instantly destroyed, while Bhashiva leads her anti-large Guandao unit of Tiger Warriors into the fray against, once again, all those large units, backed up by the piles or 2 units of Jade Warriors with halberds. Worked out decently well. Otherwise, at the sort of center, we have the single Celestial Dragon Guard unit, which was holding back a 2-3 units of Dragon Ogres by itself. But doing so pretty darn decently. It lost about 20% of its HP before reinforcements had arrived. And it looks like, with the crossbows now aiding and the fast-moving cats moving in to help, the Dragon Ogres at the rear of the column are pretty much spent. Lovely. Kolek, in the meantime, is going to be our next target as Bhashiva has arrived and will be starting to go after him. We'll probably also send Tao Yan to help out as well, rather. Kolek does hit pretty darn hard after all, but, well, we've got pretty darn solid stats on Bhashiva now as well. Granted, her mass is going to be nothing like Kolek, so that's not going to do so well. And that's rude. They cast the Gehenna's Golden Hounds right on top of Kolek and the Searing Doom as well. That is so rude. Trying to force us to blob up around the big boy and then cast their spells upon him. So, not a bad move. Unfortunately, it ultimately failed, and the units of Guandao arrived to help out their anti-large. The rest of the Tiger Warriors rapidly overrun what remained of Kolek's forces, and with that, the battle is ours. Obviously a very quick fight, but ambushes are very, very quick, even in SFO, much less vanilla. And proved to be no trouble. We did take some damage on some of the units of Tigermen, but overall not all that much, and this is most definitely worth it to bring down Kolek, his main stack, and all those dragon warriors he painstakingly built and leveled up. Alright, there we go. There may have been a breach in the bastion, a catastrophe if you will, but, well, Kolek had one of his own. And his main stack falling will probably not allow his army to or his faction to recover, especially if Tamarkan presses him, so sucks to be him. I'd love to take the 2,000 gold, but since we're going to suffer attrition next turn, we're probably better off venerating in order to heal up slightly. Also, surprisingly solid work out of our Tiger Warriors, especially, well, I guess there were decent amounts of infantry, but lots of monstrous infantry, obviously, in Kolek's army. Bhashiva did reasonably well, whacking away first at the various Dragon Ogres and then at Kolek himself, racking up 10k damage and 2.5k damage Delta's gold value. Very solid. And with Death That Purrs getting 15k damage Delta, they carry the day for the Tiger Warriors. Yeah, alrighty. We'll take the heal. No choice in the matter. And Kolek is destroyed, and we get bonus versus large plus 20. Did Bhashiva have any bonus versus large? No, she has bonus versus infantry. But you know what? That'll probably help in the future. Gandari, free dragon helm. Not that it's a good item. And, oh, right. I forgot that Bhashiva now recovers a lot of movement range, so we could go directly to the challenge stone right now. Well, actually we can't because we're out of time. Though we will have to consider if we'd have to leave Gandari here. And he'd probably get attacked by Wulrich, who apparently has all the regiments of renown. Oh, Kolek, you probably could have used those in your army, couldn't you have, buddy? But anyway, with that, like I said, we are out of time, and I'm gonna call it here. Some great fights in this particular episode, and I do expect more great fights to come. We'll probably have to spend some of our iron favor to grab a lord and put him in Snake Gate in order to defend it better. Though, by the looks of it, with all the buildings being built up, it should be pretty okay, and we could just fill it with a pile of peasants, and that should be good, especially with the Lord Magistrate to command them. And Tactician's probably a decent option as well for it, but anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Having a lot of fun with this campaign, so it makes me want to continue playing, but, you know, I gotta stop sometime. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.
Point me towards the fight.